Gold and silver investors, do you ever find yourself wondering, will gold really? Gold, the godfather of the precious metals. Look, I know you're like me, you love your silver, but will gold really get to $3,000 per ounce? We got some, what to me was shocking news last week, late and over the weekend, regarding the gold price, and it came from one of the largest banks in the world. Yes, we now have the largest banks in the world talking about $3,000 gold. Look, the other big breaking news story right now, which I'll touch on quickly, was the shocking news that we had yet another assassination attempt on ex-President Donald Trump. Let's just run out real quickly and take a look at what they're saying in the mainstream media. We'll just go to CNN. I flipped a coin, so we'll go to CNN. The Children's News Network, FBI investigating an apparent assassination attempt of Donald Trump in Florida. Look, I'll let other news outlets cover that one more closely, but I will say this, and I heard a couple other smart, high-level people say the same thing. Are we becoming a banana republic? This is the type thing that you hear going on in fourth world countries. So as we tie this back, and it's very unfortunate, but as we tie this back to the precious metals, guys, geopolitical turmoil, yes, that's a big supportive factor. But what do you think? Just internal strife, I don't even know what to call this. What's going on? Unbelievable, right? I mean, I'm sitting at my daughter's softball game, and I look at my phone and I read about what went on this afternoon, and I think, is this real? Am I the only one? Do you feel that way? But that's what gold and silver help protect. When you have the world's largest, most powerful country, right, turning into what appears to be almost a banana republic assassination attempt anyway, I digress. Let's get back to gold and silver, okay? Let's run out and check real quick. It is Sunday night. The markets are open. Let's run out to Pimbex. We'll talk a little more about them later, but it looks like gold was down $4. Gold's still down $4 per ounce. $2,580 per ounce. Hey, we'll take that. Okay, we'll take it. Silver, $30.90. What a week this could be for silver. But let's talk about, this is fascinating, what this big bank. Have you even heard of this bank? MUFG. It's like the biggest bank in Japan. Let me remind us, there's a number of reasons why this is very, very important, that they are uber optimistic on precious metals. In specific, they talk about gold, but hey, if they're talking about gold, they're talking about silver as well. And there's a couple surprising things. Number one, did you know? Excuse me. Did you know that Japan's the second biggest, third biggest economy in the world? Japan, nobody talks about Japan. This is the biggest bank in Japan, saying some very interesting things about gold. I want to give credit. First heard this reported by Vince Lancy from the Gold Fix. I believe that's the name of his Substack. And Chris Marcus covered the story on Arcadia Economics as well. But now everybody's talking about it. MUFG. Let's just run out. Have you ever? I'm flabbergasted, a little bit embarrassed to say I'd never heard of this. This is the biggest bank in like the third biggest economy in the world. Now, what's interesting about this is the fact that they aren't known as being how do you say it? They're like the JP Morgan of Japan or the Goldman Sachs of Japan, but they're not known as being a company that deals a lot in precious metals, okay? Now, why is that important? That's because what that means is they don't have any vested interest in what they're saying. They're not trying to talk their own book, either talk up or talk down the price of gold and silver. When Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan talk about gold and silver, a lot of times they're attempting to manipulate the price. Oh, yeah, right? We would never, although they've been convicted in the court of law, ever suspect that they might try to manipulate the price of gold and silver. But this MUFG, they don't really have a horse in the game, at least nowhere near to the extent, but they're massive. You know how big this company is? They have 168,000 employees. That's a massive bank. right? In a massive economy, Japan, we don't give Japan any respect anymore. And they're calling for $3,000 gold. They said things along the lines of the Ukraine war, how central banks have tripled their gold buying subsequent to the Ukraine war, and of course, the imminent Fed rate cuts. Now, Vince Lancey talked about how they talked about a soft landing, that if we do have a soft landing, do you think we're going to have a soft landing? I'm not putting a lot. I think we got about a 31% chance we're going to have a soft landing in this country, but how that would parameterize a good environment for commodities and also be good for gold and silver. However, if we have a hard landing, gold would be in good shape. And silver would suffer a little bit because the economies would slow down. However, the monetary side of silver will shine through. If we have a hard landing, that'll really officially be what they call stagflation. And, let me just remind you of something that can put a big help. Join me in a big smile. We don't want stagflation. Of course we don't, because the last time we had a big bout of stagflation in this country was the 1970s. That's when silver went from like $1.50 to $50. I don't know how many times it went up. 27, I think I calculated at one point. 27 times. Okay. If silver were to just go up 3 times from where it is right now, right, we still would be below $100, but we'd be getting very darn close. We'd have like $90 silver. So as we listen to what this massive, what I think shocking news coming out of Japan from their biggest bank, 168,000 employees. That's big. That's big, Buttercup. That's a big bank. How can one bank have 168,000 employees? Think about that for a second. You ever been to like a NBA basketball game or an NHL hockey game? Usually there's about 17,000 people there. That's like 10 of those arenas of, and that's just the employees that this bank has. Hold on one second here while I get a sip of coffee. Don't you go anywhere, basement dwellers. And by the way, of course, thank you for being here. Like, this is not possible without you being here, this channel. You're the most important part. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. If you want to give it a thumbs up, that helps gets the word out to more and more people. And there was something else. Oh, yeah. Super chats are never expected in any way, shape, or form, but support is always appreciated. They also have a fear of, they say the world is moving away from the dollar, de-dollarization. And then Vince Lancey said this, and I agree. The whole playing field for precious metals has changed. The whole playing field has completely changed. And then I say, or maybe we should say that it's reverting back to its more natural state, where precious metals, gold and silver, are regaining their luster. They're regaining their monetary characteristics that they've had for thousands of years. And this temporary Federal Reserve, la-la land fantasy world that they've been pulling on us for the last, since 1971, that's all nothing but a big joke. Hello, Jake from Jake's Custom Parts. Good to see you, my friend. Very good to see you. The report also said concerns about geopolitical tensions. I mean, what? Is it just me, or are we living in crazy town? We had another attempted assassination on an ex-president, current presidential candidate. We've got Russia and the West like closer to nuclear war than any other time in any of our lifetimes. We're not paying a close enough attention to that one. Geopolitical tension. They also, this is what the big Japanese bank had to say, are concerned about the debt levels and specifically in the United States, while referring to the fact that after this election's over, who knows what's going to happen. Man, we are truly moving into crazy town. But that's the reasons why the biggest bank in Japan is now predicting that we will soon see $3,000 gold. And remember, the big key takeaway here is they don't have a horse in the game. They're not a bank that's known to be a big player in the precious metals market. So what they're saying is really an unbiased opinion. Guys, we could be in for some fun. Hey, don't forget this Wednesday, Fed Day. Okay, we're going to hear it's going to be, it'll be the biggest day in the history of the universe up to now. There'll be more. Don't you worry, basement dwellers. But Wednesday is going to be a huge day in the precious metals markets. I'll say what I always say. It could be a big up day. It could be a big down day. Either way, we are fine. I mean, gosh, guys, last week I was wrong. We were talking about, hey, if gold has to reestablish a firm base at 2350, I think now what we're thinking is maybe gold will have to pull back and establish a strong base at 2,500. Do you feel it? I mean, I like what Vince said, right? Like the whole playing field for gold and silver have changed. I think one of the biggest symptoms of that, one of the biggest signs of that, again, was this fact that over the last year and a half, we had Western investors moving out of silver and gold. There were outflows from the gold and silver ETFs. That in any other time period would have meant that the price of gold and silver would go down, down, down. But what did they do? They went up, up, up. We are on a new playing field, period. Okay. But you think we got it bad? We're always, we bust on America. I got a story for you that's going to make your toes curl. Hold on just one second. I think I was yelling too much at my daughter's softball games today. Wait till you get a load of this. This is a viewer comment. Don't forget, basement dwellers, leave comments. We read them. That's how we can learn, is from each other. You got a good brain on your shoulder, okay? Shoulders. Leave comments. You don't have to agree with me, with anybody else. That's how we learn, is through our disagreements, right? All right, let's take a look at this. This, I was shocked. I had no idea. I guess I knew that there were taxes in Europe on silver, but never really put it all together. And this came from our friend, the Silver Machine 7. This was a comment on yesterday's video where CoinShop Chris and I compared the prices, he compared the prices of UK Britannias at the different big online bullion dealers. He said, I'm in the UK. For me to buy a one tube, 25, a tube of 25, 1 ounce Britannias, it would cost me, what is that, 785 pounds, or the equivalent of $1,030 US. He says, excuse me, that's the cheapest I can find here. We have to pay a 20% VAT, value added tax, on silver. Gold is tax free. Okay. Can you imagine this, guys? If you're in the UK and you want to buy your home domestic coin, I got one down here somewhere. I'll show it to you here in a second. The UK Britannia, that you're going to pay, what is that? Over $40 per ounce. Like, we complain a lot in the United States about a lot of different things, but hey, at least now in most of the states, we can go to a local coin shop. We can buy American Silver Eagles. We can buy UK Britannias for a heck of a lot cheaper than they can even buy them in England, in London. I was flabbergasted by this. And why? My other question was this. Why in England do you only have to pay tax on silver, but not on gold? Is that because of the wealthy and their ability to control the tax codes, even in London? I don't know. But while we're talking about it, let's go out to Pimbex. I just want to check and see. So he said 1,030. Let's go to silver. Let's go down silver. Let's go down to Britannias. Oh, wrong one. Bear with me, guys. There we go. Silver Britannias. Here's a 2023 Britannia. Brilliant uncirculated. So let's do the math real quick. Just curious what they would cost in the US. So 25 times 33.7. $842, almost $200 cheaper if you bought them from my channel sponsor, our channel sponsor. Really, they're our channel sponsor, guys. They help facilitate the ability that we can all get together. I couldn't do this without the support of our sponsors. Thank you, Pimbex. Thank you for having great prices, too. I always talk about that. Ultra competitive pricing. Here we see it. Last night, CoinShop Chris and I did a comparison. Pimbex was almost $100 cheaper on a roll of these Britannias, even as compared to some of these other big name brand online bullion dealers. So thank you, Pimbex. They got great selection, great service, and what's most important, a company you can trust. And if you ever, look at me, I got to tell you, I got to preach. If you ever decide to convert part or all of an IRA to precious metals, talk to a lot of companies, take your time, make sure, please, you'll benefit by making one of the companies you talk to Pimbex, and just compare how much actual gold and silver you're going to get. Because I see it all the time. I saw it just the other day on one of the big cable network news stations, right? An advertisement from one of these gold and silver. You've seen them, right? They always have like an ex-professional athlete or some actor that you recognize the face, and they're saying, oh, I trust blah, 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 or some old guy on a battleship. I trust this company XYZ to convert my gold and silver, and I'll send you this big fancy report. And then what really to me is a telltale sign that they aren't giving people, I'm not pointing out any specific companies, but some, maybe all, but some of these companies aren't giving people a good deal, is that then they say, and we'll give you I've seen it now, $15,000 of free silver. I got news for you, Buttercup, basement dweller. Buttercup's a term of endearment. There's no such thing as $15 free silver. I'll tell you, if you want to get free silver, right, you got one of two choices, right? You can either make more money or you can save money. Here, you know what? You want to turn this? This is a cell phone. You want to turn this? Here you go. You want to turn this? It's an old Galaxy S10 into this. Maybe two of these. I'll tell you how you do it. It's real easy. Next time you want to buy a new phone, don't go to one of the big carriers. Okay. Don't buy a brand new phone. Go here. I'm going to show you exactly where you can save $300 to $600. You might not just be able to get one of these with all the money you save, but you might be able to get two of these. And I'm sorry, but I feel very strongly about this, because here's the phone that I've had for a year, right? An old Samsung Galaxy S20. I paid $200 for it. It's an awesome phone. Okay. Actually, it was my daughter's phone before it was mine, because they had to get iPhones. That's a whole different story. If this same phone, when it was new, cost like $1,000. Okay. You can buy them when they're a year or two old for a fraction of the price. And I'm going to show you where and how right now, because I've been doing it and I have proof. You go to Amazon and you go to what they call Amazon Renewed. And right at the top, see, I purchased this phone. I bought one for me, one for Susie, one for my daughters, one for my dad. I purchased this phone 4 times. Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus, 128 gigabyte. Look at the price, $195. And you say, well, but it's used. Guys, if you buy it up here, okay, it says refurbished, excellent condition. I'm telling you, they ship it to you. If you don't like it, which I've only had to do like one time, and I've bought like probably 15 phones this way, you ship it back. Okay. But with the money you save, with the $800 you save, you can buy yourself 2 10-ounce silver bars or more. Okay. Look into it. I'm telling you, it's a great, people say, oh, you want free silver? No, the IRA companies are not going to give you free silver. Ron's Basement is going to give you free silver. And if you want one that's not, and when you buy an excellent one of these phones, it's like a brand new phone. Okay. But you can buy it in good condition or acceptable. I always, because it's only a few more dollars. If I'm going to buy something used, I buy it in excellent. And a lot of times I think these phones were never used. It's crazy. Okay. And when you do have to ship them back, if you're not happy, Amazon, it's like no problem. You get like 90 days to use the phone. And then on top of that, if you do have to ship it back, and I'm telling you this because I absolutely believe in it, you print out the label, stick it on the box, and bring it to the UPS store, and it's done. Bingo, bango. And you got like 90 days. I would never buy a used phone off Facebook Marketplace or from, nothing against any of that. But, to me, this is the way to do it. Now, look, I told you we had to buy iPhones for my daughters. We just bought these December of last year. This was the iPhone 14 Plus. I think there was more like $550 when we bought them. But for $500, and I look like the newest iPhone. I mean, you don't need the newest. I guarantee you there's like no difference at this point between this phone and the brand new iPhone. Some BS little differences, but they're not really improving phones much anymore. The new iPhone, I think, is like $1,200 or $1,100. And don't fall for, and then I promise I'll shut up. This is how you can get yourself some free silver. Don't fall for these big carriers saying, oh, you can get a free iPhone. You can get a free this, free that. There's nothing free. If you get it from one of those big carriers and it's free, you're just paying for it every month with a higher bill. Okay, I'm done. All right, this week, big news. Let's go check and make sure. We're going to look at the odds of what's going to happen. We're going to go to the CME FedWatch tool. Okay. Earlier or last night. Okay. It's changed. Okay. So this is what we can expect this week. This is not that complicated. See right there. It says, make sure I got you on the screen, which I do. Target rate probabilities for the 18th of September, which will be Wednesday when the Fed comes out. This is the probability. Oh my gosh, guys, this is crazy. So right now they're saying there's only a 48% chance that this would be a quarter point rate cut down here, that range, if they cut to that range. Now that the markets are open, they're saying there's more than a 50% chance. Wow, that we're going to get a half percentage point rate cut. So Wednesday could be very, very interesting in the precious metals markets. We'll be on top of it. Okay. We'll see what's going on. No free silver. Let's go. Let's talk about Judy Shelton. Do you know who Judy Shelton is? You want to hear about the gold standard? This lady was nominated to be on the Federal Reserve. Okay. Donald Trump nominated her. She is your friend. She said some things that were truth bombs, and she's got a new book out. Okay, but let's go take a look and see who we're talking about first before you hear what she says, which is you're going to be taken aback by what you hear from her. Here we go. Judy Shelton. Judy Lynn Shelton, okay, is an American economic advisor to former President Donald Trump. She is known for her advocacy for a return to the gold standard and for her criticisms of the Federal Reserve, which she has compared to the Soviet Union's economic planning. This lady's famous and getting more famous. And trust me, you're going to love her and you're going to love what she said. I got some highlights for you. Trump, I didn't like that picture, announced on July 2nd, 2019, that he nominated her to the Fed. Her nomination got stalled in November of 2020 with a 47-50 vote in the Senate, and her nomination was eventually withdrawn by President Joe Biden because he had to get Bidenomics. It's working, right? Working, okay? Wait till you hear what she said. She has some very interesting things to say. Basically, our current monetary system that we live under has a stated goal. I hear my kids yelling upstairs. I think the Kansas City Chiefs just scored. Sorry if you heard that. Our current monetary system has a stated goal of stealing 2% of your money every year. Think about that, guys. That's our current system. That's its goal. Its goal is to steal 2% with inflation every year. This is a Fed nominee that is saying this. Why does the government, and let me know how this hits you. I loved how she said this. Why does the government have to skim purchasing power at 2% per year? Monetary policy plays favorites. This was great. The wealthy do great. The middle America is trying to save a little cash, gets a screw job, basically, okay? It's not moral or right. It's not what our founding fathers of this country wanted either, okay? Money is a moral contract between the people and the government. The current system does not work for the average American. You know, I had my kids on Saturday. I took them to one of these. It's called Urban Air. It's like a big indoor trampoline park full of middle-class Americans, right? Right in the middle of St. Charles, Missouri, right across the river. I live right on the Missouri River. Over St. Charles is the middle of middle-class America, right? And I'm looking at all these people and running around. And I mean, there were hundreds of them with their little kids. And I thought, these people don't realize how bad they got screwed. I'm sorry to use that word, over the last 20, 30, really 50 years. If they realized, they would be up in arms. But the reality is they don't realize. They just don't get it. I'm sorry, I digress. Okay. The current system, this was great. I love this. The current system does not work for the average American. Not everyone wants to or has the time to watch the financial news every day. Think about it, right? Not everybody. I mean, you know, there's the few elites that know how to game the system and front run the system do very well. But just average people that maybe would rather go fishing, but they work hard. They're a plumber, or they're a trash man, or an electrician, or a teacher, or whatever, even a doctor, right? They just want to work hard. They don't want to have to study the financial markets to figure out how to move their money. Why is that the case? We're talking about us working for each other. That's what money represents, right? You work. If you do some work for me at my house and I pay you in this crap, I hope you don't take it, right? Unicorn fart dust. That's all that this represents, is you did some work for me. I couldn't do anything for you, so I gave you this so you could go get some work done for yourself from somebody. That's what it is. But this stuff that you work for keeps going down in value. I digress. Back on track. Judy Shelton. It's not fair. It's not, okay? Then she talks about this, and this is really interesting. If you have investments, let's say in your house, real estate, or some stocks, or whatever it may be, and they do happen to keep up with inflation, right? They do happen to keep up in inflation. Even then, when you sell them, that gain that you had that did keep up with inflation, well, guess what, Buttercup? We got to pay capital gains tax on that. I mean, that makes no sense whatsoever, right? Even at a slow rate, we need to repeat this. Even though it's a slow rate, even if they do get their 2% inflation target under control, eventually still it goes to zero. By the way, if you ever do work at my house, demand that you get paid in silver. I'll have to go get some where I store it, but we can make that happen. Okay. Then she said this. Think about this, because she talks about wanting the gold standard back. She talks about wanting to issue gold-backed bonds, the United States Treasury bonds backed by gold. The United States gold at Fort Knox is like the family jewels. That's like the last thing we have left. It's our family jewels. This supposed, and we have to say supposed because we've not been able to audit it, even though it's ours. Why can't we audit it if it's yours and mine? You ever think about that? Right? Well, so we're told, and we'll work off the premise that our government would never lie to us, that there's 8,000 ounces of gold at Fort Knox. Those are the family jewels. Okay. But she said, right now, I love this. Those are the family jewels, but right now we got a family emergency, and we do. Okay. The current world economic and monetary system has become so financialized, and really that's because of us, because of the United States, and very delicate. Think about what, and she mentioned this, what happened. What was that, like 7 Mondays ago? It wasn't that long ago, guys. We had a market crash. Remember, for one day, and one day only. It was a Monday. The yen carry trade imploded. The market, the world was ending. People came back to the office from their vacations. It was like the Great Depression. But now they can only let that happen. The Fed had to step in. I don't care. Just my suspicion, or I will, what's the word? Hey, there's Pat from the Missouri Freedom Initiative. Good to see you, Pat. Keep up the good work. But I think, what's the word? Speculation, right? That there were some calls that were made, right? And it just shows how delicate the system is. I love this Judy Shelton. She's really awesome. Oh, I got to ring the cowbell, Susie. Wow, you guys, we got 800 people here. This is incredible. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being part of Ron's Basement. I'm really glad you are here. All 800 of us. We're like having a little powwow. Aren't we supposed to be watching football? Huh? Yeah, no. Right? We got more important things to talk about. Okay. I'm almost done. Post 1944, Bretton Woods. That's when they put us back on the gold standard after World War II. Were the golden years. Wait till you hear this. Wait till you hear what former Fed chairmen say about this. Were the golden years. Okay, the world loved it. France loved it. There's a name in France for these years between 1940 when we were on the gold standard. Okay, the United States loved it. Middle American, average Americans did great. Okay, everybody, and then Nixon and the war machine, right, took over and temporarily. And you know what? Maybe there's some truth in that. We always say, oh, temporarily took us off the gold standard. It's only been 50 years. What is it? 1970, 55 years, 53, whatever. You know what I'm saying? 50-ish years, right? We kind of say that like, oh, yeah, it was supposed to be temporary. Maybe it really will be temporary because it's coming back. I believe it's coming back. I believe it never really truly went away. It was like a great brown bear, right? You ever been around a great brown bear? I have, at a zoo. Hopefully you too, not in person. But big brown, powerful brown bears, they go sleepy sleep during the winter. They hibernate. And I think that's what gold was doing. It never died. It just got put to sleep for a few years, and it will be back. And it feels like it's coming back right now, and it's kind of hungry. Right? Put on its bricks jacket, and it's kind of hungry. Okay? It was that period of time was a time of stable monetary systems throughout the world. And think about it, there really weren't many wars going on between 1944 and 1971, right? Okay. Volcker, right? Remember Volcker? He's the guy that saved us during the 70s. And Alan Greenspan quotes where they talk to the attractive attributes of gold. Volcker himself said, there is no necessity for any inflation. Why do we have to have inflation? Think about it. I mean, people just like we're all brainwashed. Like we're brainwashed, and I'm as bad as anybody. These are valuable, right? Well, oh yeah, paper, right? This, I got to show it. I show it every day. This is different. Look at that at the top. See that? Hold on. It's going to come into focus for you here. I hope. Come on, camera. Focus. Please focus. There it is. Silver certificate. See it right at the top, right? And then down there at the bottom, it says $1 in silver payable to the bearer on demand. And then see that part right there? 1935. This doesn't say that. Okay. Why was now I forget. Oh yeah, why do we have inflation? Why do we have to have inflation? Right? Why? When I was at that trampoline park yesterday, I was looking around and I'm thinking, I know prices here are like 50% higher than 4 or 5 years ago for everything. And like everybody, we just accept it. Like, oh yeah, no, like, I mean, imagine if I said this to you, then I promise I'll zip it. If I said this to you, hey, I got a great deal for you. Okay. You're going to come work for me at my company. Okay. You're going to work. You're going to work. All right. I'm going to pay you with this stuff. Okay. And you can redeem it at some point in the future, but it's going to become worth less and worth less and worth less and worth less every year. You'd be like, no way. Right. But when it comes to the overall monetary system, we're just like programmed that, oh yeah, everything just gets more expensive. I just get poorer. I mean, it really, really does not make any sense. And then she said this, and this really, I debate whether I should say this to you or not, or share this, but this really kind of ticked me off a little bit. She talked about how there's been studies done, and it was one of these other authors, and this lady's smart, that said with government programs, okay, different government programs that are available, that some people exploit, that there's some people that people that learn how to get onto these different programs, the food assistance, housing assistance, even some, not all, because there's some people that are really disabled, but some people who learn how to work the disability system. She said, basically, it's been estimated now that you can, if you learn how to work the system, that you can get the equivalent of an $80,000 per year job. And she said, she's like, at what point do people get ticked off about this? People that are working, right? Like, why am I working? And anyway, so we're in this weird kind of situation right now. It'll be interesting to see how it works out. One thing that's not weird, right? One thing that's cool is that you decided to join me here in the basement today. That's a big deal. Okay. I want you to come back. Thank you to Susie for help moderate. Thank you to Jake from Jake's Custom Parts. Thank you to Annie, who's always here. Thank you to Big Tim, the Silvershire. It was great to see our friend Pat Holland. Pat and I have a great video. Just go to the Ron's Basement homepage, and it's our featured video. We love Pat Holland so much. But, you know, at the end of the day, right, there's one person who's most important, truly, and that's you, right? You are always welcome here in the basement. You're all part of the group. If you want to call yourself a basement dweller, I think it's awesome, but not required, right? Just know you're always welcome. Know that we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody have a great night. Okay. Going to be an interesting week. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.